onto the draft we go. It's going to be AHQ on your blue side with Green Tea and Zero on coaching duties. Taipei J team going to be on red with Ratis and Cold Ice. And we start things off with the LeBlanc ban over from AHQ and the Zoe from J team. So already seen the mid lane being targeted on both sides.
And that is understandable. Zoe has been the cause of how Uniboy has garnered 30 plus KDA at the beginning of the split, at the first round robin of the split. And there's a lot of respect towards Uniboy. The big question is whether or not Uniboy will be on utility duty. Will he be on the control mage duty this time around? As they have adjusted pretty well when it comes to that portion. Now, Graves will not be seen. Will Callisto be the next one to be banned? As, you know, J-Team will be comfortable as they have a lot of pool when it comes to the AD carry.
So there you go. Also, the set being banned out, so we're not going to see any kind of flexibility coming out of that pick if you want to go for, you know, a four role swapperoo if you wish to with that set. Can be played everywhere, but pretty much mid lane. Or not mid lane, AD carry. Karma, though, is going to be the ban here. So we're trying to get rid of some of the support champions to try and heighten up, say, Wako, who's going to be once again on the Aphelios.
There's a lot of no fear when it comes to the Aphelios, which is understandable. It will depend on the player that is, you know, holding this champion in particular. And it just means that Lil V is ready to challenge Wako on this very scary hyper carry champion. And for J team, I wonder what they will pick this time around, as there is that Ezreal open for Lil V.
All right, so they are going to fall back to that Ezreal as the answer here to the Aphelios. And there you go, Trundle once again here for Hana was able to perform very well with it in the previous game yesterday. We're going to go ahead and lock in for their second game against AHQ.
I wonder what Nesty is going for this time around, because after a while, he has managed to pick up certain assassin mages like Lil Blanc by any chance. So at least that weight will be shifted a little bit. But we did mention, you know, Uniboy back at it again with this Galio pick, which Nesty picked up yesterday.
All right, so a little bit of a flip of script when it comes to who's going to be playing what. You see Uniboy now on something that's a lot more, you know, utility support kind of focus, though he could just build straight AP and then look to try and blow everybody up when it comes into his ultimate, doing massive damage. Don't know if that's going to be the case, but will we see ourselves the pocket Yumi for Lil V in the bot lane? And it appears that is going to be the case.
And it's perfect too. There's a lot of safety with this Yumi pick, and it has been the bane for a couple of matches, and that's the reason why we've seen a couple of Yumi bans recently. It's just so annoying, such thick heals, as when you've come to so close to eliminating that one, the cat just ruins your day. And for AHQ, what will be the next few bans, as you know, mid lane is still up for grabs, as there is still that Syndra available, and as well as that LeBlanc.
Oh, we get to see, though, that's a fun little ban coming out. That's the Nesty special in mid lane, by the way. So no Garen for Nesty. I love that it actually drew a ban from AHQ. I believe that was in the early part of the spring split. J-Team actually did run a Garen mid, and well, Nesty, I think, what, he had something like a 10 KDA on it. It was absolutely disgusting. It was hilarious to watch. Let's see now, though. Olaf going to be banned out here. So again, taking away a lot of the jungle pool pickups here for Kongya. Could still always fall back onto something like the Lee Sin, or if he wants to get aggressive, could go with the Nidalee, or hell, maybe go back to your tank pickups.
Yeah, go back to your tank pickups. He did favor the Jarvan before. Pantheon, I was thinking maybe Twisted Fate would be the next good option to try and match that global presence against Galio. It's too bad, though, as HQ has removed that Pantheon right off the bat. We did see, though, I think it was Nesty that also played the Talia back then. But now, Aatrox being hovered, mainly for rest, most likely.
It could still be Flex 2 to Nesty. That's still a brawler that he could take into the mid lane, especially into maybe this Galio matchup. But we'll have to see here. The Aatrox has been a little lackluster when it comes to the summer split here so far. Picked up in, you know, 3 games, but it's still yet to see a true victory in his hands. Let's go back on over, though, toward AHQ. What do you wish to show? What do you want to try and pick up here? Looking at jungle and likely your top lane for your final 2 pickups, and what do they want to try and put Kongya on? We mentioned that Lee Sin before, and that looks like it's going to be the case as it gets locked in.
Wukong is still open for the taking if Leaky decides to be that either secondary team fight initiator that would cause chaos for Taipei J team. It has been the go-to for a couple of top laners already, or go default Renekton, which has been that common matchup at top side and can just snowball out of control. And I'm very curious, but you know what? There's also that Trinity, and part of that is the Mordekaiser.
There you go, Mordekaiser gonna get locked in. May just decide, all right, I'm gonna take this Ezreal away. You guys should be able to take care of the fight, or even during these Baron fights, just go ahead and just lock down Hanum, make it so that he can't be an annoyance on the front line, and then there goes pretty much all your protection so far that you have locked in for this Ezreal. We'll see what the final pickup here is going to be, and they're looking like a Kassadin, and I just got to say, that's a rather gutsy pickup, but we'll see how it pays off if it gets locked in.
I'm looking at the pool, and Nesty has yet to pick Kassadin in one of his matches before. So this is something very new coming from Nesty here for J Team. And I'm excited how this is going to work out, because it just spells out that they are confident to survive the onslaught that AHQ is going to deal. Considering the fact that once AHQ feels like they're confident enough to take a team, they will keep diving you and they will not stop.
So we'll see if, J Team are going to be able to do that. You got to remember, though, you're kind of in a little bit of a waiting game. You're pretty much hoping that this top side of the map can kind of pick up and try and help cover the fact that this Kassadin is going to be trying to, reach that magical level 16 with his 3 items online. And if that isn't the case, there's a real good opportunity here for HQ, like you mentioned, to just go in on these dives and just cause absolute havoc during the early portion of this matchup.
Well, the good thing is, though, you've got the Ezreal. He's a very relatively safe champion, and you put that as well with a couple of sustain in the form of that cat. And I think it's still pretty doable.
We'll see whether or not the kitty cat's going to be annoying enough. It's actually forced Woody onto something where he can't roam as heavily, and we might see Ysera be the one that actually goes for those roams early on. Nonetheless, we are going to go ahead and load on into the rip. Both of these teams currently at the 1-0 record to start off their summer split. We'll see who gets to go 2-0 on the weekend and who has to go with that ugly 50% win rate as we load on into the rips.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
And we already got Leaky taunting heavily in the river. Well, great way to start off. Again, we got to mention, this is Leaky's first appearance for AHQ, his first appearance when it comes to the 2020 season. So we'll see whether or not, J Team themselves are going to try and, make a ruckus toward that top side of the map like we mentioned. I'm glad he's already having fun, though, so that's always what you want to do when you start off your season.
Yeah, for sure. Just as you mentioned, he's no stranger to this in particular, considering he played at the LMS with Alpha and a ton of ECS experience, too. So, he did have a little bit of fun. In the meantime, though, for Taipei J Team, they will have to wait a little bit for Lil V to get his usual 2-item power spike, and just a lot of safety too. I feel like, maybe Lil V is going to be a little bit brave, considering, the item path for most Ezreals nowadays have a little bit more extra safety, and you add a cat, so perhaps that Arcane Shift aggressive combo to the final chapter will be seen. You pair that up with Nesty too, with his Kassadin, and it really synergizes well.
Yeah, the question is whether or not, you're going to see the assassination when it comes into the late game from Nesty on this Kassadin in particular, if you're going to be able to blow up Locko on this Aphelios, or if he's going to be able to keep himself alive. We'll see whether or not he decides to go into a more, Ma, Phantom Dance or Death Dance-esque build to try and round out his overall damage output as well as his resistances. Starting things, though, both junglers just going to mirror one another from the top side of the map and work their way down toward the bot side.
Yeah, absolutely no funny business, as first game was very, very interesting. For now, though, it is HQ versus Taipei J Team that will wait it out a little bit, because from day one, normally, when it's LMS versus LMS, it would be very, very quiet. But the trend has been very different. But for now, I feel like this time we will see a little bit of throwback of what happened in spring, where the first 10 minutes of the game will be peace and quiet. You'll exchange the first dragon to the Rift Herald. But maybe not, as Uniboy is making his way down to bot.
Yeah, Kongyu is also going to come on over here himself. Hana is nearby. Lots of pings coming out, so we'll see. Uniboy is going to show himself underneath, and now it's going to be that 4v3 underneath the tower. Teleport also going to come on in. Hook is going to land immediately onto Lil V. The Ezreal goes down pretty low, but First Blood goes in favor of J-Team, and now looking for 3 kills as Hana already found himself a double kill, and Yasera was the only member to pick one up for himself on the side of AHQ.
I want to say good read. Hana hugged the wall in like max range to the point that, you know, Uniboy wasn't able to spot that out, and looks like he's making his way towards mid.
Looking for a mid lane possible play, but yes, very nicely done, and that's a perfect read coming out here on the side of J-Team to start things off as the dive goes away.
Exactly, HQ did not see this coming, and there's also that double teleport too. HQ at this point is not tanky enough to tank 2-1 even, and it's gonna put you in a lot of kill range towards the poke. And again, Taipei J-Team just played that out really well.
And we mentioned, you know, Hana, want to see how good he's gonna play. Well, he's already got himself a double kill to start things off, so this Trundle already is gonna be quite the annoyance, and I feel bad actually for Kongyu if he's lucky enough to try and avoid the Trundle now, as going down this early is never a good sign. Now Leaky in the top lane, we mentioned, will he get camped in his first game here in the PCS, and he's forced to flash away here as Trundle makes another appearance.
Hana is just basically everywhere, and because of that early 2-kill, he can afford to just try and make things happen in the map without having to pressure of catching up in gold whatsoever in terms of camps. And with that said, I feel like that's a pretty good start for Taipei J-Team. And once we look at the previous losses of AHQ, it is mainly, you know, that jungle pressure that will, you know, sort of trouble AHQ later on.
You see that Trundle only getting the first back off now, but already, like you mentioned, making a lot of impact across the map here on the side of Taipei J-Team. And this is a great start because, too, you got to remember your late game insurance is this Kassadin. So if you're able to bridge the early mid game with this pressure from the Trundle, you're setting yourself up very pretty here on the side of J-Team, where HQ, you're like, all right, well, we tried to go for a very early dive. It ended up backfiring. Now we're going to have to hope that, you know, Wako is able to carry us back during these late game team fights and doesn't get caught out.
Absolutely, I think it's perfect. Hana, though, has a feeling as Kongyu will solo.
Also have to be careful that Uniboy does have level 6, so I think that was enough to say, all right, you know what, I don't have to force this. It's only the first dragon. It's only a mountain drake too, as it's not going to be ramping up into the mountain soul itself. As instead, we'll have a cloud, so that means we're either getting infernal or ocean drake soul for the rest of the game.
I'd like to touch on more of what you said earlier on how, you know, Hana will be that bridge from early to mid, and it's perfect too because Lil V will get hooked.
Will get hooked into a flay as well. I don't know if that's exactly what he wants to do, but yeah, Lil V will be, we're waiting for him because also, you take a look, his first back was a call. So this is pretty much saying, you know what, the lane we are going to lose. Pretty much just screams it. Anytime you pick up a call on your first back, unless you got a kill, and then you're just getting like very, I guess, confident for your matchup. It's a rough time. Say on the side of Wako, who has himself a call after getting that assist.
Yeah, anticipating that perhaps, you know, I think all of these, like for example, you know, Unified, Lil V, and Wako in general are so used to enemy junglers having to visit their lane constantly, even their mid laners.
Leaky
Hana?
ultimate is going to be popped immediately here onto Rest. Hana, though, is the one who gets brought back into the Death Realm. We'll see whether or not he's able to find this, but looks like using his ultimate was enough to try and get him back to safety. Shield's also going to be there, and Rest cannot finish off the kill.
It was the window of opportunity too, since Hana was level 6, Rest was also level 6, so they're trying to find perhaps a kill, considering that Leaky does not have flash. Lane's a little bit extended, so it is quite unfortunate that they're not able to find anything else on that visit.
You saw mid lane too. Kongya made an appearance, trying to go for a possible play onto an ST, but once he has that Rift Walk, doesn't matter if his flash is down, he'll be able to keep himself safe.
Double call on Lil V.
I'm trying to remember, is it actually gold efficient to just go for call? I know you're supposed to keep it until you actually go for a back. You don't back immediately. Yeah, maybe he's just like, I gotta spend it on something. Double call, go for it. And that just kind of shows you a bit of the power difference when it comes into this lane. Is Wako, he's got a BF sword, so his auto attacks hit like a truck. And the fact that now the Sheen is actually getting delayed this much from Lil V means he won't be able to do a whole lot of poke and is really relying on Woody to be that supplementary damage.
And for now, though, top side.
Nice kick coming out from Kongya. Leaky, though, was farming minions. It's going to force out the flash immediately. Rest might try and turn this back around. Meanwhile, mid lane, Hana's going to make his appearance, and now Uniboy trying to get himself back to safety. The flash on over the wall into the Rift Walk. Is it going to be enough? No! Uniboy is able to survive. The Ignite's taken, but it won't be enough to take down the Trundle.
That was going to be too risky if they pushed a little bit more further, and that was well played still by Uniboy. The damage is not enough, unfortunately, and that actually gives room for HQ to just press that go button on that Rift Herald. They got first dragon very, very early, which means they have leeway to have more control over a top side. They had to wait. Unfortunately, that gank did not be successful for Hana, and they lose the Rift Herald.
It's not all that bad there, as Rift Herald's also going to be picked up there by AHQ. I think there was a little bit of communication issues toward that top side, as Leaky, like you said, a bit late to kind of join in on that play. So, you know, maybe that first match jitters coming in to play possibly here. See our first hook coming out from Ysera in a little bit. Not actually going to land, though, onto Woody. Looking to try and lock down onto the Yuumi. Do see the Warrior enchant, though, online for Kongya, so I do expect this Lee Sin to start making a bit of an impact as we take a look back toward what happened in mid lane.
That was perfect. You know, Nesty already having everybody at level 6, and with Hana just trying to get in from the side. But then Nesty, everybody else, again, the damage is not enough, and if they try to push a little bit more further, they would have gotten killed by the tower.
Yeah, unfortunately there, you're not level 16 just yet on that Kassadin, and not a whole lot of cooldown reduction really either, so you can't try and go for the continual Rift Walk underneath tower to try and get the kill. Looks like we have ourselves a bit of a slower paced game. Like you mentioned, when it comes to these former LMS versus LMS teams, they like to play a little bit more of that, what people consider a more Korean style of League of Legends, where it's a little bit more slower pace. Not too chaotic, just looking to try and find opportunities when mistakes happen. And as I say that, AHQ are looking for a possible dive as the teleport comes out from Lil V. He doesn't have Woody with him anymore. He's all alone at this point. The cat is over with the Trundle at this point. The kick is going to land. Lil V gets himself back to safety. Final chapter is going to be used here by Woody. In comes the rest of the squad. Oh my lord! It is just a party down in the bot lane. The unfortunate side effect, though, Leaky has joined in, but now it is 4 members collapsed in onto the Mordekaiser. Will he actually find the kill onto Lil V? He ends up taking him down, comes back out of the death realm, able to flash over the wall back to safety, but the rest of J-Team are still closing in. And unfortunately for AHQ, it will just be the lone kill for the price of 4 members.
My, oh my. Props to Taipei J-Team for just reading every single play that AHQ wanted to do at bot side. It looked very, very grim considering that Lil V was all alone, but because of the arcade shift, because of the flash and the timing of, you know, Hana going down to bot side was just perfect, and teleports were all online, so you got assists and kills, and most of the kills went over to Hana.
Now we'll take another look here because it just starts off with that Rift Herald being popped and screaming, all right, we're going to go for the dive, and then the rest of the team just piles in.
It was a beautifully timed, you know, arcade shift. It kicked Lil V forward instead of backward towards the team of AHQ. And now it's just, you know, the rest is history as J-Team just collapsed all over AHQ as they just wanted to retreat.
Now, unfortunately, it was just Leaky that's able to at least get a kill in the very end, but that's not what you want for this dive. At least in the very end, they are able to funnel in the gold onto Wako, which is exactly what they did in their game yesterday that ended up paying off. So there's your kind of win condition for AHQ starting to show already, just pumping in as much gold as possible onto this Aphelios.
Yeah, you can be a little bit more patient because even though, let's just say, you're not successful with the next 2 ganks that you've already done for the next 10 minutes, then it's fine because you have that fallback, which is mainly your big win condition on this Aphelios being that carry.
It's going to be a true shot barrage also coming out, just trying to push back that wave as much as possible. Nesty checking in on your casted and timer. Already has his Roa, so give him 9 minutes and I'll be fully stacked as he works his way now into his tier Archangel staff. And we'll keep tabs once again when Nesty is going to come online. But the one kind of side effect here you got to note for the side of Taipei J team, you have the small advantage because of that first brick gold going on to the Aphelios. Even though they're up 4 kills, they aren't actually up that far as the gold total goes, under 1,000.
Yeah, for sure, as HQ has managed to get control over that first dragon, actually rather the first Rift Herald, and is able to break that down. In the meantime, though, for J team,
Ana again just lines up into the final chapter, and Wako gets taken down as Lil V will find his first kill on the Ezreal.
the story of the previous game, or day number 1 rather, is how lanterns have so much value because teams would just spend their ult and then a lantern would just save them. Unfortunately though, this time around, that final chapter just solidified that route onto Wako and could not do anything at all.
Yeah, Ana's been playing beautifully so far on this Trundle. You saw HQ's plan, they're like, all right, get as much turret plates as possible before they go. And finally, they actually get punished here pretty good, so that'll be a nice pickup there for Lil V. Picks up his first kill on the Ezreal and makes it so he can afford his Sheen, is already looking to stack up his Muramana.
This is topsy-turvy land. Considering, again, from Spring Split, it was HQ 2-0ing Taipei J team in an effortless manner, and now HQ is struggling with this. And for Taipei J team, they'll be happy considering, again, that's a 3-0-4 Hana on this Trundle, and they're pretty happy.
And on top of that too, this is the odd little choice that the fact they decided to start Leaky here on day 2 of week 1. Whereas, you know, Civ, like we mentioned, had always been that consistent top lane that even if the team started to struggle, he would still be able to find a victory. But now Leaky, unfortunately, he's been only able to trade back a kill after the rest of the team was able to fall. At least for HQ, looks like they'll be able to pick up the second Rift Herald and try and get more gold in onto the Aphelios.
Yeah, another Rift Herald in the pockets of HQ, hoping to put more control either on top side to take that down, slowly whittle away the towers of Taipei J team, and on the other hand, Lil V will work his way towards his gauntlet later on, as already continuing to stack the tier. It's a stacking party for both Nesty and Lil V this time around.
Also to note here, we wanted to see, you know, are we going to get rest, the prime rest that we saw all of last split, or last season in particular. Spring, it was a little lackluster. So far, though, 2-0-2 on the Aatrox. After being able to answer with that teleport in the 2 bot lane skirmishes, he finds himself in a prime position for this Aatrox to take over a side lane. It makes it rather difficult for Leaky to even contest him, as you just saw that first tier tower go down and up.
Exactly, and if more threats start to grow on the side of Taipei J team, then it means that, you know, this win condition that HQ has to take care of has a more difficult time to survive in the fights. You've got, you know, Lil V, you've got Nesty for the assassination, you've got Rest for the potential flank. As you see, you know, J team has planted a couple of deep vision earlier that has expired now. Dragon is spawned though, HQ has first dibs on that area.
We'll see here. That's a very quick dragon, so J team up not to try and respond. That will be the second dragon secured here by AHQ. As a push in the top lane, Lil V was able to take down another tower for J team. That gives them about a 2,500 gold lead before the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, I think it's perfect because, you know, they're not online just yet, so they are okay if they do not have control of the dragon. It's fine to just try to, you know, push the side waves, try to put more farm on towards Lil V, And then once you're all online, once you've got your tiers stacked up, then perhaps that you can find, you know, certain picks that will you can take advantage of, like at top side when Wako was pushing that tower.
Yeah, unfortunately, too, their plan here on AHQ, they wanted to try and get another tower. And I was talking about Rest. Already popping that Conqueror. Leaky brings him into the death realm. But guess what? Kongyu was there to help you out, but instead you've now made it so you can't get any help. Rest is going to try and finish him off, but there it is. The kick on back into the final chapter, though, is not actually going to land. In comes Wako as well. It's another just Fiesta down in the bot lane. The Q connects, and Lil V will get taken down. Another kill in favor here of AHQ. In comes Uniboy to go back for the knock-up, and NestT can't finish it off, and AHQ were able to find multiple kills in the bot lane.
That is very unfortunate because that would be the third instance that potentially, you know, J team can turn things around. But it was, you know, Rest trying to find the fights, trying to bait AHQ out to go full force, as pretty much everybody else had that teleport online on the side of J team.
Yeah, he saw there. Rest is able to get the fight going in his favor, and I was concerned, you know, Leaky. He brought him into the death realm, but little did we know Leaky had a plan of his own as Kongyu comes back out to help him out.
And I want to point out, Isera's hook, Death Sentence, just did not get that final chapter in range of any sort of route, was just really, really good timing. And because of that, they struggled, and the collapse was just so much better on AHQ side, as basically their J team was pretty much surrounded.
A nice job there, and with that, AHQ find themselves back into this game. They were able to find 4 kills without losing a single member on the bot side of the map. And you can see J-Team at least trying to set up some vision, but they may get caught out if they're not careful, as Hana was looking to path through the river. And this is, it gives a little bit of breath of life back into AHQ. As Taipei J-Team were starting to run away with the map, but now they're kind of back into this waiting period until NestT comes back online in the later part of the game.
Exactly, they do have that fallback, at least. If things didn't go well, things didn't snowball out of control in favor of J-Team. So, you know, that is also the scary part, because there's, in the other side of the spectrum, HQ does have Wako on this Aphelios, already has his 2 items in the bag, and the Executioner is just to try and deal with some of the heals coming from the side of J-Team. And yeah, it is going to be scary because for J-Team, I don't think they can rinse and repeat what they've done earlier, which is try to respond, because if they don't get Wako first, then it is going to be a difficult team fight for them to win.
Yeah, I've seen this gold ranking graph before. It looked pretty much the exact same as it did yesterday. Instead of being 2,000 gold ahead, he's only 1,500. You know, a little lackluster for Wako standards, I guess, but still nonetheless. That screams exactly what the game plan will be here for AHQ, as he's also picked up his Executioners to help deal with some of the healing that's also going to be coming out from this Yuumi.
Exactamundo. So they have that at least going on for themselves. And on the other side, though, Lil V already fully stacked Muramana. Still waiting for NestT, though, as the rest of the members will decide to just wait for the next objective, which is the Ocean Drake, in more or less a minute. HQ has full control once more.
You see, Wako's actually sitting on about 1,200 gold, so I think he's wanting to try and get a back off. Maybe if they can get this tower, they'll go for the back, then go into a reset onto a dragon fight, and that's kind of a concern here now, because we do have this Ocean Drake that's starting to stack up. Wako does not even care how far he is at this point.
Again.
I've seen this one before, and he doesn't have enough lifesteal to make it happen, and this plan of trying to save the Aphelios every single time with a lantern has been denied. Leaky trying to answer back a kill. It does not happen, though, as Lil V will find another one on the Ezreal.
That is the second time that happened, and that is so unfortunate. Again, a little bit of confidence relying on that lantern, and you know, there's so much denies. You've got that pillar from Hana, you've got a couple of control wards that are in the inventory of, you know, J-Team, and they're really prepared to lay that down automatically when that happens. And that is, despite HQ being present, most of them over there, Wako is just so confident to stay a little bit more and be greedy.
Yeah, I don't understand why they keep trying to go for this, and you can see that they're like, all right, we need to funnel as much gold as we possibly can to try and make this work out. We want this Aphelios to get pretty much all the tower gold to himself, but ends up costing them now multiple kills, as well as Dragon, as Lil V also finds himself a shutdown on the Ezreal, going on over the wall into 3 members. Uniboy, though, wants to turn back the fight. Nessie goes down extremely low. Taunt is going to land onto the back line, but speaking of bat lines, it was Rest on the backside of AHQ, but Wako is able to take him down. Uniball will fall, and Leaky trying to lead the charge. Decent amount of damage, though, comes back on out. Leaky will get himself a shutdown. Unfortunately, that will be the ace in favor of J-Team with the remaining 2 members of the bot side.
My oh my, look at that. 538, 500 gold bounty already on Lil V, and all this time, you know, like Woody was there all along, just sitting with that Ezreal, just granting the heals. And it all started with that hook coming from Ysera, but this fight was actually divided into 2, as the rest of the, Rest was actually distracting the backline of AHQ.
Yeah, unfortunately there is, if you don't take down, say, the Ezreal, he's still going to have that pocket Yuumi. You can see the heals just piling in, still has the shielding as well, and that is going with the grievous wounds coming out of the Aphelios. So it's starting to look a little bit doomed here on the side of AHQ. We'll see whether or not they can try and round up another fight in their favor, as both teams, they keep finding these, 4 to 3 man kills, and then they have to reset. But I'm in a bit of a concerned state here now for AHQ, as the rely on the Aphelios carry is starting to show his weaknesses.
Yeah, it's very different because, before it used to be relying on Lil V a little bit back in spring. Nesty now, though, on Kassadin duty, which means they have additional sources of damage, which is pretty scary as the game progresses. And for now, though, for HQ, it is just solely reliant on Wako to make things happen, to keep safe. But there is just a ton of threats on the side of Taipei J-Team that HQ has to be worried about.
And this Ezreal is going to get to a point where he's almost unkillable himself. You now look, he's finished off the death stance, went into Iceborne, so he's already got about, it's 65 to 80 extra armor on top of then having a pocket Yuumi at your disposal, who's also running a heal as well as an exhaust. It's going to be up to HQ to try and go for gutsy play like this on this Baron. Wards are going to get cleared out. That's True Shot Barrage, though, able to cut through the backside of AHQ. 6,000 health onto the Baron. We'll see if Ana can go for the steal, but instead HQ are looking to try and throw back onto the team fight, but Wako's caught inside the pit. He's got nowhere to run, and I've seen this one before as AHQ, they're able to secure the Baron, but J-Team are going to be taking their lives in return, as there you go, all members minus Ysera fall.
And that's going to be a teleport at mid, as Ysera is the only one left. And with that said, at least consolation prize, 1 Baron buff has survived. 1 Baron buff that is denied, but unfortunately, that's a lot of death time.
And there you go. It's been the Baron calls of the PCS that's just not gone in their favor, and it starts off with Wako again relying on this Lantern, but guess what? There's just so much CC, it don't matter.
I mean, yep, the Trundle Pillar, the control wards that they are willing to put down to deny you to click easily on towards that. So for J-Team, I am loving it. This is a very, very different team coming into summer.
And there was one caster in our power rankings that actually did put J-Team second overall, and I believe it was Section from the Taipei broadcast, where I called him. I was thinking, I think you're a bit crazy here, but so far so good.
He was the king of predictions on spring.
Exactly. So maybe it was the all-knowing Section himself, knowing exactly that this J-Team came to play for summer and wants to make a push for the World Championship, and they have to start knocking on the door of the big 3, and they're doing it right here against AHQ.
Exactly, considering the fact that, Taipei J-Team, last round robin, they landed in 7th place. They were struggling so hard when it came to climbing onto the round robin rankings, and this is a really big breath of fresh air. And especially that HQ is top 3 last spring as well. This is basically a very huge improvement.
Well, AHQ, they're able to at least get control back toward the Dragon. They're looking to still stack up into this Ocean Drake. We'll see whether or not that's going to be enough to help them out, though. Is looks like J-Team, they're like, oh, we don't really care about Dragons. It's still another, 10 minutes until you get Ocean Soul. We're going to aim to try and finish off the game if that's the case. You can see AHQ, they're trying to do this right now. J-Team are making question mark pings. They say, are you seriously going to give us this inhibitor for an Ocean Drake?
And now they're porting back quickly, but the wave is already shoved and meeting at the base. And this is going to go really, really fast, considering that their reliable wave clear is definitely in the form of Uniboy.
Well, Uniboy is there at least, so they don't lose out on the inhibitor itself. So maybe an okay trade there for AHQ. It does mean they do set themselves up for an Ocean Soul on the next spawn if they're able to keep the game going long enough. But by then, Baron should also respawn as the buff is about to dissipate away from Ysera. Unfortunately, that Baron buff ended up being a negative 1,200 over the course of the take, so not too effective as it ends up costing AHQ more than it possibly could gain. See here, though, maybe looking to hunt down Lil V, but Hana nearby to support him.
Yeah, I love how Taipei J-Team is just very safe. They do not want to lose the lead that they've earned.
Oh, boy. Gets a bit aggressive there. In comes the True
Nesty.
Shot Barrage. Kongyu, he gets taken down. ST is able to find it with the Ref Walk, and now Uniboy also going to get interrupted here by this Kassadin. Lil V also nearby. The stasis stopwatch is there, but the kill goes on over. And ST on a killing spree, and J-Team hunting down Ysera at the same time. The Flash Pillar into the Aatrox Darkened Blade. And unfortunately, this Thresh, not long for this world. Going to try and flash, trying to do what he can to at least prevent the team from ending, but that will be at least the inhibitor.
That's a lot of death timers, 3 death timers. And for Wako, he will not dare go close and try to clear the waves without having that additional peel that is about to spawn in the form of Uniboy and Ysera. And at this point, that was very risky. Like, I get the idea from AHQ. They wanted to see whether or not maybe Lil V is farming alone in the jungle. Perhaps they can make a pick or two, but Nesty with that flank just really ruined AHQ's day and a clear form path of retreat, if you will.
So they'll try and back off, but you take a look now, you score total 9-21. J-Team now sit with a 6,000 gold lead with a Kassadin Ezreal composition that has now also hit level 16 on the Kassadin, 10 stacks on Roa, has a Zhonya's, has a Seraph's base. This is where Kassadin says, all right, this is a free win at this point. I think it's up to AHQ to maybe find a misposition, a misstep from J-Team, but I think it's going to be pretty hard to do so considering J-Team have just looked like the cleaner team.
Yeah, for sure. And again, this is a complete contrast to Spring Round Robin, and I feel like Uniboy is just getting a taste of his own medicine, because last time these two teams met at the round robin, it was Uniboy on the Kassadin with 12 kills, and now it's the complete opposite with, Nesty only having 2 deaths and having been very present in most of the fights and creating impact.
I think it's also such a concern here too, because Wako has now had to go into the more defensive route. He's now going into his Death Dance. He isn't really getting a whole lot of damage. He'll get an extra, 30 attack damage from the Death Dance, but other than that, he's having to use it to try and keep himself safe. He is waiting on his last Whisper item now, so that he will be full build. But if they're not able to find fights in their favor, that is the limit. That is how powerful Wako will get, where the Kassadin still has 2 item slots.
And that is the scary part. And because of that defense, because of the constant, deaths that has been happening on the side of Wako. For now, though, Baron has been started. HQ maybe too late on this one.
4,000 health onto the Baron. True Shot Barrage comes in, gets a decent chunk of damage. Hana still into the pit. We'll see whether or not it's going to be the case. Baron is secure. They actually find Nesty, though, and bring him on back. Moonlight Visual way off, and Wako's going to want that one back. Actually had the Infirmum ready. Tries to at least stop the back on ST, but now he will be the one caught out. Lantern gets him back to safety into the hook from the Thresh. Hana gets himself pretty low himself, ends up popping his ultimate, able to bring it on back. Rests onto the back line of Leaky. Lil V, though, steps forward, and HQ and J-Team are on the opposite sides of the map. Lil V actually got it kicked into the back line of AHQ. Wako has to flash over the wall. The exhaust is still there. It's a double kill for the Ezreal, and now Uniboy trying to avoid the damage, but Hana denies him passage with the pillar. Once again, it's a triple kill for Lil V.
My, oh my, big plot twist right now. Taipei J team is doing it. And we were talking about the aggressive arcane shift in, and that's what we're seeing here for Lil V.
And like that, unfortunately for AHQ, they will not start their first week with a 2-0 record. Instead, fall to Taipei J team as they themselves will now go 2-0 for their first week.
What a win for Taipei J team, considering they struggled so hard every single time they had to face against AHQ, and now the complete opposite has happened. I am very happy for this team.
Yeah, J team looking pretty good here. I have to question though, is this AHQ underperforming? Is this J team overperforming? Or, is this a stark difference having, Civ not up in the top lane and instead having Leaky? I don't want to put a lot onto Leaky because I think there was a lot more problems with this team as a whole when it came to their execution, especially in the early game, where they were read like a book by J team when it came to their bot lane dives.
Exactly, it happened twice, Hana having to read that very, very well. There were the second dive though, I thought that was the dive that would be successful because Lil V was in no man's land. But at the same time, they really, really know what HQ has been doing. And I feel like that sort of playstyle of just relying on Wako and Uniboy, not on the LeBlanc, not on the Syndrome, maybe not on the usual Zoe, sort of hurt their avenues of, getting that win for this game in particular.
Yeah, and credit there too. I like the fact that, Lil V stepped up once again. He said, yeah, I was on the Sivir last time. I'll play the Ezreal. I'm not afraid to arcane shift into the middle of the fight. I have a pocket Yuumi. And it all came down to, again, this first Baron where it felt like HQ threw everything away.
Yeah, it seemed like a very, very excited call, if you will. And the best part about, this approach by J team is they came from different angles. So HQ didn't know where to focus on. Especially there's a lot of threats on board, and Isera just wanted to keep that Baron buff intact to not make it a total loss.
There you go, your post-game breakdown, AHQ. Fortunately, once we started to hit about that 25-minute mark, J team just started to run pretty wild, and that 27,000 damage coming out from Lil V on the Ezreal. I'll give it to Leaky, he did try. He was in the middle of a bunch of team fights on this Mordekaiser. It didn't look all half bad. Unfortunately, the rest of the squad, I guess, just did not show up today when it came to their game here against Taipei J team, and they felt like a house of cards.
Yeah, for me, I feel like you question whether or not this team is underperforming or overperforming. I feel like for me, it's really, Taipei J team really reading HQ, and perhaps maybe HQ thinking that they can rinse and repeat what they've done in spring against Taipei J team.
So now with that, Taipei J team, they go 2-0, and for MVP, it's going to be Hana once again on the Trundle. Looking like an absolute mad lad. That's what it was. He was part of 23 kills. He has 20 assists on this Trundle. Looking like an all-star actually in his first week back here in summer.
Yeah, a well-deserved MVP. He has improved insanely coming from spring and now to summer, and again having to read HQ's attempted dives towards bot side, also readying that pillar to deny any sort of lantern, also denying any sort of Uniboy trying to dash away too. Like, he was just very on point with his timing and his pillars.
Yeah, it seems like there's a red side just like curse at the moment where everyone is able to take it. We are though going to go ahead and go to an interview with Hana himself. Patty, take it away.
这一场他们上场的是 Leaky 而不是 Ziv。那对你们来说 HQ 的整体风格还是你们熟悉的那一支 HQ 吗？
So you guys and AHQ are old rivals, but they had Leaky on instead of Ziv for top lane. So do you still feel that you're familiar with them? Are they still the same AHQ that you guys faced before?
我觉得还是跟我们之前认识的 HQ 一样吧，因为主要他们还是以下路为主，然后上路就是一个坦克，然后后期开团之类的这样子。
Okay, I think they're still pretty much the same. They still focus on pushing bot lane, and their top lane is still more of a tank champions or late game champions.
OK， 那第二题的话，想要来请问一下，今天怎么会在最后一个 pick 选出一个后期的角色卡萨丁来给雀巢使用？跟之前春季赛的时候常用的英雄风格就比较不同，因为之前他可能是用一些功能型的中路嘛。那在休赛的时候，你们是有做了什么样的一些调整吗？
So you guys last picked Kassadin for mid lane champion today for Nesty. It's pretty different from the way you guys chose mid lane champions before. Did you guys make that change during off season?
主要是我们刚刚的阵容嘛，就是假如我们可以苟到后期，我们双边都赢，然后我们中线也不怕对面进攻，然后我们拖到后面的话，我们自然就会赢的。
So it is because we think that if we get to play late game, that we're gonna win. So that's why we chose Kassadin today in this game.
那你刚刚提到就是你们只要苟到后面，但你们前面真的苟得很漂亮。他们其实在前期针对下半部进攻非常多次，那几个 TP 的传送啊，还有包含你的特朗的反蹲都做得非常到位。这是在赛前你们就已经有想好的应对的方式吗？
So they were focusing on pushing your bot lane this game, but you guys did pretty well with your TPs and your champion too. So did you guys already knew that they're going to be focusing on bot lane, or was that how did you guys do that?
主要从一开始的那个打野路径开始，和中路眼位，然后进攻往右边的时候，就大概知道他们想要约我们下路这样子。
We knew that they're going to push on bot lane during the early game, in the mid, and from the strategies that they're using in the early game, we knew that they're going to focus on our bot lane. So we were able to counter that.
那就恭喜
恭喜
Hana 跟 JT 在这场夏季赛取得一个好的开局，希望你们可以继续保持。
好，那也非常谢谢哈娜接受我们的采访。那在刚刚那场比赛，台北巨蛋队打到 AHQ， 确实。
With that, you heard J Team kind of had them read like a book. They were pretty confident, saying, "All right, you know what? They're going to try and focus bot lane. That's kind of what we did, and we saw them repeatedly deny Wako any safe passage when it came to those lantern plays from Ysera."
Yeah, it's like read like a book. It's like they had AHQ's schedule on record and they were on time every single moment. And I think really props to Taipei J Team for such a huge improvement coming from spring to summer.
Yeah, so with that, that is, of course, going to be the end of our second game. But, of course, we still have more action, and we get to see Resurgence once again as they'll be taking on to the Rift up against Berjaya Dragons. We get another little taste of that Southeast Asia, rivalry, Berjaya being from the Malaysian-based org. We'll see how it's going to pan out. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, it's going to be that exact matchup.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.